So let's look at some more in-depth examples. Let's take the quantifier that makes use of the asterisk, which means 0 or more. Well, we could look for instances of the near future. So, for instance, we might want to look for va, but also we might want to have some letter after that, such as in the form vas, or more than one letter, vais or vamos. So what we could do is specify that we want some letter there, and it could be none, or one, or two, or whatever. So either something could be there, or a whole bunch could be there. And that asterisk then quantifies as 0 or more. Then, of course, we're going to have the preposition a, and then we're going to have some word after that. And let's see what that gives us. And we're looking for the near future here. Looks pretty good. We're getting va, and we're getting also vamos. So it's looking right after that a, and it's saying something could be there, or nothing could be there, could be 0, or a bunch of characters could be there. And that looks like a pretty good search. Look to see if there's anything to be concerned about here. Oh, here we go. This is a problem. We found vació a palma. Clearly it's out of context, but we could give this a little more precision by saying that that next word here ends with an R, and that would give us an even better search. Those all look like near future forms. Nothing to be concerned about, or not too much cleanup after the fact. Let's have a different look at the plus quantifier, which means 1 or more. So let's look at that vowel sequence we were talking about. And that means any character that is one of those vowels. And we wanted 1 or more of those at the beginning of a word. All of these words have only a single vowel. Let's look down a little bit to see if it found any that had more than one vowel at the beginning of the word. There we go. It found also aunque. 16 instances of that. So that's looking for, again, I'll just copy this and bring it up to the top so that we can compare again. But what we find here is that this looks for any one of these vowels, and it'll find it at the beginning of a word, and it should be any word that has 1 or more. This has 1 vowel at the beginning, and so do all the rest on the screen there. But this has 2 vowels. So we can use this plus quantifier, meaning 1 or more of something, to do some pretty powerful searches. That's going to find any word that begins with EST and any amount of letters after that, 1 or more. And then we can begin a word and say it should end with an NDO to get us forms of the progressive. That works. It's given us quite a few progressive forms right there. So now let's look at the certain number quantifier, where you place a number in between these curly brackets. let's say that I was looking for all words that had only 2 letters in them. That quantifier there would say any character, and I want 2 of them in a row. This would be the same thing or equivalent to writing that. If we wanted that, all we would need to do is do that, and we get 3. So let's look for all 2-letter words in Spanish. And there we go. We got a whole bunch of them right there. Now let's do something a little bit interesting. Let's look for long words. And let's say we wanted all 15-letter words in Spanish. And we got a whole bunch right there. Let's look at this range quantifier now, where it says I'm looking for whatever comes before this curly bracket sequence, and I'm looking for from N to M of those. So for example, let's say I was looking for all words in Spanish, or the most popular words in Spanish, that had between 2 and 4 letters. As you can see, those are all in that range there. I could increase this and say I want words that are between 9 and 12 letters in length. So, if you recall, I said that that was a way of saying I want any vowel, and I could specify a range, and I could say find me any word of any length but that ended in a vowel, or better put, 2 to 5 vowels. So that has 2. That's got 2. That's got 2 there. Whole bunch of them. It's unlikely we'll find any with 3 vowels. And I don't see any there. We did find 2 or 3 words here that ended in 3 or more vowels. This one ended in 1, 2, 3. This one ended in 1, 2, 3. Then ended in 1, 2, 3. And now let's look at the last quantifier, which uses the curly brackets again, but it means what it basically does is it's similar to the 1 or more, but rather it lets you set a different limit rather than 1. You can put 2 here, and that would be 2 or more. If you put a 3, it'd be 3 or more. If you put 5, it'd be 5 or more. Let's look at an example. Let's say I was doing research on long words, and I wanted to find words that were at least 9 letters in length, but they could be longer. Then I would have my any character item written there, and then I would use the curly brackets, and I would write 9 and then a comma, and this would mean 9 or more. So that's finding all of the quote-unquote long words. One thing that's interesting is you might want to make a note, is that right there, 1 or more, that is equivalent to writing this. That also means 1 or more, and it'll get you very similar results, as you can see. The 0 or more is really the same thing, as writing the asterisk. So the asterisk is just a quick way for you to write 0 or more. And if you remember our example of tienes, and we put the question mark after it, which means it'll get us tiene or tienes, that's no different than writing 0 or 0 to 1, saying that the lower limit is 0, but the upper limit is 1. You're going to get the same sort of kickback on your searches.